Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am thrilled today to be able to share with you the first copies of my new book from Angelico Press. This is hot off the press. I just got this box today, haven't seen it yet, so we're going to share this moment together. Of course, I've seen the files online, the PDFs and so on, but it's different. You know, when you see the PDF of a book interior and a cover, it's kind of like an ultrasound. But when you actually get the book in your hands, it's like the baby's been born, you know. This is the way I think about it, in any case. So, here we are, opening up this box. Okay, let me just pull this copy out. I'll just pull out one copy here and get this screen at a better level for speaking with you. So, the new book is called Close the Workshop: Why the Old Mass Isn't Broken and the New Mass Can't Be Fixed. This, as I said, is from Angelico Press. As you can see there, the nice Angelico Press logo at the bottom. And this is a book I've been working on for a very, very long time. In fact, you could say decades. Why would I say decades? Well, as some of you may know already, for decades I was a music director for both the Old Mass and for the New Mass. I did both of them all the time, week in, week out. And this was sort of during my reform of the reform phase. You know, everything I did with the New Mass was, you know, by the books, by the rubrics, chant, polyphony, hymnody. We did everything exactly so, just the best it could be done. But you know what? Those decades of experience made me intimately familiar with both missals, with the old one and the new one, with their principles, axioms, with their rubrics, with their music, with what is optional, what is not optional, with the parts and the modules and how they configure with each other, with the history of their development, because I'm fascinated by that question, with the theology expressed in them and the spirituality, and I would say the worldviews of these missals. And what I came to see after all of that experience, even in these ideal circumstances, is that there is a profound abyss between these two missals. Never the twain shall meet. The old missal did not need to be reformed. Pace the claims of the cancer phase liturgical movement of the 1950s coming into the 1960s and preparing the way for Sacrosanctum Concilium. It did not need to be, it needed to be understood, it needed to be practiced well, but it did not need to be turned inside out and upside down. And similarly, the new rite, because of its principles of design, because of its assumptions, because of its options, because of its history of reception, because of the current ecclesiastical situation, many, many reasons, it cannot be fixed. And there are real spiritual dangers to trying to fix it, instead of simply embracing tradition again and restoring the rich tradition that we already had. So that's fundamentally what this book is all about. I'm going to just put here for you to see the table of contents. Let me see if I can get this close enough. Part 1 is called Detours to a Dead End. And Part 2 is called Does the Old Mass Need to be Reformed? And then a couple of appendices as well. Let me just read to you the back cover of the book, because I think it'll give you a nice synopsis of the content. The Mass of Paul VI is so deeply flawed that it cannot be repaired from within, whether by copious helpings of smells and bells, by arbitrary attempts at traditionalizing, or by an official reform of the reform. And the Roman Mass inherited from the Age of Faith did not and does not need to be reformed along antiquarian or pastoral utilitarian lines, as it fulfills the highest act of religion in a fitting manner perfected over many centuries of prayerful practice. The liturgical revolution, driven by ideology, culminated in balkanization, banality, and boredom. Its fabrications must be retired from use, and the traditional rite must be restored to its rightful place of honor in the Church of the Latin Rite. Such are the bold claims defended in this book, in which Peter Kwasniewski refutes the reformers' own case for reforming the old rite, and illustrates the subtle dangers to which clergy and laity are exposed by attempts at doing the new rite reverently. Simultaneously, he reminds traditionalists that they should aspire to the noblest possible celebration of the Mass, always faithfully observing the rubrics and resisting bad habits that interfere with the rite's full splendor and efficacy. Unseemly haste, minimalism, ineptitude, and the itch for pastoral experimentation. So it's very important to emphasize, this book is not simply another critique of the Novus Ordo, although it does that, and I think it does it in a unique way and in a profound way that hasn't been done yet, at least not in the same way in which I pursue it here. But this book is also very much about best practice for traditionalists, why we need to understand the principles and structure and rubrics of the Old Missal better and deeper. We have to grasp the spirit behind them as well as the letter of them, so that we can actually give glory to God and edify souls by the celebration of the old rite. It is true that the old rite was not always celebrated well in the old days, and this is part of the reason why it gave a false pretense for the massive liturgical revolution, right? The false pretext was, well, priests are gabbling the Mass in 15 minutes and so forth. Okay, some of that's true, some of it's exaggerated, some of it's made up, fine. But the fact is the old Mass can be celebrated poorly, and we need to have the highest possible standards. We need to, as it were, up our game. And I think that in general, I've traveled all over the world, all over this country and all over the world. The liturgies I see are edifying. The low Masses are reverently, beautifully said. The high Masses are often very beautiful, very solemn, very, full of pomp and splendor. I mean, I do think that the traditionalist movement is doing a very good job with this, but there are worrying signs. For example, in France and Germany, you can find these sort of litnik, as they could be called, liturgical movement-esque traditional priests who want to do this or that in the vernacular and introduce lots of vernacular hymns, and they're basically just repeating all the mistakes of the 1940s and 50s, and they think somehow this is going to make the Old Mass more relevant. No, all it's doing is paving the way for its eventual demise. So I disagree with this pastoral experimentation that some traditional priests, fortunately not in the United States, but in Europe, are engaged in. So I think these are all the kinds of issues that come out in this book, and I really hope that you'll check it out. It's called Close the Workshop, Why the Old Mass Isn't Broken and the New Mass Can't Be Fixed, from Angelico Press. You can order it directly from Angelico Press. If you put that title in to Google, it'll go straight to Angelico Press. But you can also order it from Amazon. It's in paperback, hardcover, so please do check it out. I am going to, in a separate video, read the preface of this book, just as another way of sharing it with you and piquing your interest. Thank you, and God bless you.